Hi, I'm Greg Crawford with the Friday News Dump, brought to you by World News Trust. Our legions of fans, all three of them, are accustomed to my weekly tirades against injustice, treachery, greed, and selfishness. But just this once, I'd like to talk about people who do good. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations devoted to helping those less fortunate. They feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and protect the victims of violence. But organizations exist only on paper. The accomplishments of any of those groups would not be possible without the efforts of individuals, people who dedicate their lives, or at least a portion of them, to helping others. Now, we're not talking about politicians that show up at a soup kitchen unannounced for a photo op. We're talking about folks that do it day in and day out. The kind of people that brave the elements and the condemnation of mean and small-minded people to bring sandwiches to those living on the street, even when petty bureaucrats pass ordinances forbidding it, or folks who give up their evenings to bring dinners to housebound elders. But we're also talking about just ordinary folks who don't hesitate to do a good deed for someone in need when the opportunity presents itself, without thought of recognition or recompense, just the satisfaction of knowing they did a good thing. It's not necessary to go prowling the alleyways looking for someone to help. We can't all be another Mother Teresa. Just, help when you see a need. Big organizations help hundreds of faceless, nameless victims of tragedy, and that's a good and necessary thing. But the world has changed for the better, one little random act of kindness at a time. Help a guy load his truck at the lumber yard. Turn around and go back to offer assistance to someone on the side of the road. Or even just reach something on a high shelf for a little old lady at the supermarket. It's the little things that count, and it's the best way to combat the pathological selfishness that too many people nowadays smear with metaphorical lipstick and then call it virtue. Selfishness is never, ever a virtue. But moving on, I know people who just radiate goodness. It's so embedded in their DNA that they never even think about it. It just comes naturally. I am in awe of such people. I think I'm usually pretty smart, but I can be a bit of a scatterbrain at times, juggling too many running chainsaws at once with too few hands. But then there are these people who sail through the oceans of life like sleek dolphins, epitomizing efficiency, living life to the fullest, taking care of business, and still finding the time to lend a helping hand to people along the way. I don't know how they do it. It's all I can do to keep my head above water these days, floundering around like a spastic walrus. I'll always do something to help someone when I can, but as much as I admire these folks, I don't know how I could ever hope to emulate them. Maybe they'll let me visit their planet someday. Sadly, there are those who look at kindness and generosity as weaknesses to be exploited. They're hardwired for nasty, and there is little hope for their redemption. But good needs something to be the opposite of, and there are plenty of people eager to fill that role. But even sadder is the fact that most of these people consider themselves good Christians. Sorry, guys, I'm afraid not. But don't let them harsh our mellow. This is the season for warm fuzzies. Now, I've been scratching my head trying to think of the perfect phrase to sum it all up, but the Methodist theologian John Wesley said it best. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, for all the people you can, for as long as ever you can. Happy holidays, Mr. O'Reilly. To the rest of you, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Allah Akbar, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus, and have a nice day.